Let me now take you across to DD India's Amritpal Singh for more on all these developments taking place related to the conflict in Gaza. Amrit, the latest is that the Hamas has handed over the first 3 freed hostages to the International Red Cross. What can we expect next in this first phase of the ceasefire deal?
That's right, Gautam. The 3 hostages have been handed over to the International Red Cross, which is now taking them. These hostages are on their way to the Israel-Gaza border, where they shall be handed over to the IDF or the Israeli Defense Forces and the ISA. That's their security agency. They'll first be taken to a hospital there that the IDF has set up. A medical checkup will be done. They could meet their families there, and then the Israeli authorities will talk to them, and later perhaps they could come and interact with the media. So the first is over. Now what remains to be done is that 90 prisoners that Israel had promised in exchange for these hostages will be handed over later today or later tonight, late in the night, because it's evening time there right now in Israel. So they'll be handed over to the Hamas, which includes, most of them include women and children who were serving sentences in various Israeli prisons, many of them taken hostage after the 7th of October. Now what happens next is that the next week another 4 hostages will be released, and after that followed by more hostages. The total what has been agreed in the first phase, that's in the first 42 days from today till the first phase lasts, 33 hostages have to be returned, and the ceasefire will hold. That's what has been agreed, that temporary ceasefire will hold. 8 trucks will be allowed, 600, a maximum of 600 8 trucks carrying aid, food, medicines, fuel, because the electricity situation is bad there. People have been allowed to move towards their houses from the refugee camps that they've been living in. Israeli forces will start withdrawing from at least the populated areas, though they will remain inside the strip and not move out of the strip. And on the 16th day, 16 days from now, 15 days actually, on the 16th day, negotiations for the second phase will begin, which will entail withdrawal of forces to the buffer zones, and they will continue to remain there, and more hostages, the rest of the hostages, a total of 97 in total, will be returned. Those of them alive shall return alive, otherwise those who are dead, because the numbers are not clear, neither the Hamas nor the Israelis are clear about how many of these 97 hostages that are with the Hamas are alive. So they or their bodies shall be returned back to Israel, and Israel will hand over close to about 737 prisoners in various jails of Israel to the Hamas. And though they'll not be allowed to move to Gaza or Judea or Samaria or even the West Bank, they'll probably go abroad or at the max, sorry, not to Gaza, but they could go into West Bank, or they could move out to places like Turkey or Egypt. Gautam?
Right. So trucks are moving in. There are reports of the IDF also moving out of populated areas as part of the first phase of the deal as well, Amrit, while the return of these hostages into Israel, as we showed in those images, people collecting to receive them as well, or receive the news of them having crossed over onto Israeli soil. But while all this is happening, how challenging do you think, Amrit, would be going through with this entire deal? Because considering the ground realities as we are seeing them unfold right now, and the political pulls and pressures from both within and outside the government.
That's right, Gautam, that it is very challenging to keep the deal from both sides, because the rhetoric from both sides, in fact from outside the country also, the Houthi chief has said that if the deal is not honored and they start the war again, the Houthis will attack the Israeli government. That remains to be seen how much of a threat that would be, or how much of strikes they could, because they haven't been really successful in striking, though they've launched missiles etc. at Israel, but most of them have been intercepted. The challenge really remains within, because the kind of rhetoric emanating from both sides, from the Israeli side and the Hamas, is that the Hamas says that if it is off, the gloves are off, and then the Israelis, they'll teach the Israelis a lesson. Meanwhile, the Israelis have been saying that if the deal is not honored, they do not agree to, they do not affect what is agreed upon in paper, then they have the right to resume military operations. Now, as you say that, the issue for Netanyahu, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, is also about, the political opposition, both from the far right and the left as well. Because, one of his ministers resigned today, another has threatened not only to resign, but to topple his government. His own finance minister, Smotrich, says that if the war ends, if the military operations against them end, and that's why he will topple the government, not only quit the government. So Netanyahu faces threats from within his government, and then there are people on the centrist like Benny Gantz and Yoav Gallant have said that they have different positions, saying that if reconstruction is not done and the decision of post phase 3, who will govern Gaza is not decided, then they will launch a political movement against Netanyahu.
Okay.
So in the long run, yes, there are problems for him, but right now the big question is how to manage the public opinion in his country and see that the smooth return of the hostages takes place, and there is no violation of the ceasefire from either his own troops or by the Hamas.
All right. So a very delicate balance to maintain, while also factoring the fact that come 20th of Jan, come Monday, there will be Donald Trump who will be in the Oval Office. Now, thanks, Amrit, for joining us with that update.